This is a miniature game that handles the gameplay in a way no other game does. Sunrod is a sort of a mix between a miniature skirmish game and a narrative tabletop RPG. Think Mordheim meets D&D. What it does so brilliantly, what I love so much about it, is the way it introduces cards and drawing random cards into the gameplay. The cards could contain monsters that come into play, there's random events that get drawn, there's random items you can find and loot, but also there's cards for attacking and casting spells and trying to succeed in like skill checks that aren't covered by the basic rules. All of these are random draws. There's this really cool element of surprise and sort of improvisation to the whole game that facilitates this sort of storytelling at the table where you and the people playing, your friends, you come up with your own homebrew rules and this narrative unfolds over the course of one game, which is also pretty short. That's another big plus. I actually did a little intro video on Sunrod and my first impressions of this box and the cards contained within. You can check that out up here. Sunrod is designed by Matt Ross and it's published by Smashbash, who I'm sure you've heard of before. And Sunrod just got an incredible update with a board game edition, some beautiful new hand-sculpted metal cast miniatures by Anna from Gardensofhecate, who you know I'm a big fan of, and some new card expansions. Matt was kind enough to send me a package with all of these beautiful new products and some extra goodies as well. The biggest thing, obviously, is the board game edition of Sunrod, which is different from the smaller regular core box that I covered in my earlier video. This contains all of the same cards, it's the same game, but this now also contains a beautiful game board and a ton of cut out cardboard tokens made out of really nice sturdy cardboard with beautiful artwork printed on them. And all of this is made so you can have a whole complete game experience in one box. All of the monsters that are on the cards, they're here now as little cardboard standees, and you have tokens that you can use for like corpses or objective markers or terrain indicators, stuff like that. You've got special dice in here that you can use. There's even old school cardboard terrain that you put together and then you can just build your table with that. So you don't need any additional miniatures, no terrain, no dice, no nothing. It's all in here. You just take this box set and it's like a board game, which it is not really, but it feels like that. I was blown away by the quality of these. I think Sunrod throughout has a stunning art direction. The graphic design really meshes super nicely with these public domain artworks that have been used. The game books and the promotional materials and the cards and the boxes, it all feels super cohesive, really professional, really beautiful. It's something that I want to display on my shelf. For me as a graphic designer, you know, I appreciate that. Recently, they've also teamed up with some really cool artists that I love the work of, namely Ditch Witch and Gardensofhecate. Both of them amazing artists in their own right. Ditch Witch makes these really nice and gritty occult illustrations. They've worked on a video game called Pluto, which is really cool. And Anna, obviously, very talented, multifaceted artist, an incredibly cool miniature painter, does a ton of different crafts and has so many skills, but I think she's probably most well known for her beautiful hand-sculpted miniatures. So Sunrod is very explicitly a miniature agnostic game. You're supposed to be able to use whichever miniatures you like, kit bash your own, use the cardboard standees from the board game, get some stuff from your existing collection, Monopoly figurines, whatever, right? It doesn't really matter, just as long as you're having fun with it. You can use books as terrain or this nice cardboard terrain or use actual plastic terrain, 3D print a whole board, whatever. It's pretty vague by design. But if you do want to go all in on the vision and the art direction of Sunrod and you want some really beautiful, unique miniatures, they now have these blister packs that they release with official miniatures for the monsters featured in the card deck of Sunrod. So your miniatures look exactly like the monsters they're trying to represent in the game. These I'm super excited for. I actually really want to just stop doing everything else I'm working on right now and just paint all of these. But nope, I gotta stay focused. Gotta eat your vegetables before you have your dessert. But man, I'm excited for these. This package also included some other goodies that I'm super excited for. This is the Smashbash Catalogue, which is awesome. I love it when indie companies have their own little catalogs that you can flip through and see all of the amazing products products they make, and it's nice to kind of track your collection. This is also just a cool item to have laying around for people to flick through when they're coming over. These stickers obviously are really beautiful. Like I said, the art direction is just top-notch all across Smash Bash. I also love the company values that they have and how firmly they stand behind those. What's really exciting is this Smash Bash advent calendar. When this came out last year, I had like big time FOMO. I really wanted one, and it was impossible for me to get one. So I'm beyond excited to finally have my own. I think there's 12 doors here. I'm thinking this year during the Christmas season, I'm gonna open up one of these doors every 2 days and I'll paint the mini, and we'll do like a little advent calendar on the channel here, so we can enjoy this calendar together. Let me know what you think about that. So exciting. Well, obviously, I had to invite some friends over. We did invite Flo, but unfortunately, he got sick. And so it's another tragic case of FLOMO, which is what we call it when Flo misses out. I'm sorry, buddy. You'll be there for the next one. I did play Sunrot once before, and so on top of just wanting to get some more games in and show it to some other friends of mine, I wanted to check out how the board game differs as an experience from the version I had tried before. And so I invited my friends Nager and Chris, and they came over, and we opened the box together, and we punched out all of the little cardboard standees and the little tokens, and we sorted the cards, and we chose some miniatures. And the first difference in this box, obviously apart from all of the extra material, is that there are now multiple booklets included, and they feature an introductory scenario as well as some more advanced rules that were included in the previous full version. But now there's also a thicker book with more scenarios and sort of little prompts and ideas to give you some thematic encounters you could use. So one game of Sunrot is supposed to last approximately 1 hour. You play across 3 different boards consecutively. So you go from one board to the next and then to the third and final board. And always your objective is to find the exit. The sun is hanging in the sky, stagnant and rotting, and the earth is festering down below as monsters creep out from the shadows and the world plunges into chaos. The survivors try to fend off these wretched beings and escape from here with the help of the Oracle, an NPC that the group has to protect. The Oracle has access to divine intervention cards, which are very powerful boons that come at a great cost, and the players have limited resources of these, so they have to really choose wisely when they might want to tempt fate and use these. The Oracle is also needed to open the portal from one board to the next, and these portals aren't visible when you enter a board. So players will have to do some investigating and make some checks and maybe defeat some monsters in order to find that portal and then open it and go through with hopefully all of the party still alive. Characters will probably die. As a matter of fact, the whole party might die. Sunrot is a pretty brutal and unforgiving game. It explicitly says in the rulebook it's not really balanced or meant as like a competitive war game. This is meant to be a narrative, fun, chaotic, and random experience where you let fate sort of take the wheel and then interpret whatever happens and make up your own collaborative story out of that. Starting with the introductory scenario where each player only controls one character and there's not as many different types of monsters and randomization yet. The little booklet really does a great job of holding your hand throughout this and sort of giving you an idea of different scenarios that might play out and how to handle them when they occur at the table. It's vague in a lot of places, but it tells you why, and it gives you a good idea of how to handle that vagueness. So if you're someone who likes crunchy rules and wants like a lot of very explicit instructions for every little scenario, this is maybe not the game for you. It's very much open to interpretation in a lot of ways, and it's a rules light, narrative heavy game that really wants you to immerse yourself in this world and its atmosphere and just tell a cool story together about these survivors just trying to get by and scrape through this unharmed. Monsters come out randomly from different places. There's a lot of emphasis on the GM sort of making decisions as they go along. You have to feel how much tension is there, how much pressure to put in. For me, as the forever DM of my role-playing group, this really felt very familiar. I was doing all the stuff that I'm usually doing, making decisions about when to pull punches, when to introduce new threats, how to approach combat situations, and narrating everything, trying to set the stage for a cool thematic encounter for my players. And this worked brilliantly. brilliantly. Naga and Chris both played for the very first time. This was only my second ever time playing Sunrod, and we didn't really stumble across any issues or have any big question marks left open. Anytime there was like something that we weren't quite sure about, it was very easy for us to just come to a conclusion as a group and quickly move on. There's a system in this game where you set a 10-minute timer, and every 10 minutes an event happens that drastically mixes up the game, introduces new threats, new twists, and it's very interesting because it keeps everyone on their toes, it keeps everyone acting quickly and thinking ahead, and it's a nice way to sort of add that urgency to this whole situation, really make it feel like the city that you're playing in is a dynamic landscape that's changing and crumbling around you, actively falling to rot and ruin. And when you do find that portal and escape that board, it always feels like a very narrow escape, which is great. Monsters just keep coming, conditions just keep worsening, and so you just want to find that exit portal and get out of there. This is not the sort of game where you heroically save the town villagers. This is the sort of game where you really just want to save your own skin. For this playthrough, we opted to use most of the cardboard terrain and tokens, as well as, of course, all of the cards, but we did use real miniatures, and then later on I brought in some plastic terrain as well to see how these all mesh together. I really like how you can sort of pick and choose whatever you want to use. So maybe if you don't have an existing miniatures collection, maybe you don't have any plastic terrain that's cool and thematic, it's totally viable to just use whatever is in this box and play a full game with that, and it'll look beautiful. The artwork on this terrain and on these boards is so stunning. The cutouts look great. They're very easy and quick to put together, and it's very recognizable which one is which. But if you do have an existing collection, maybe you have some miniatures but no terrain, you can swap out the standees for your miniatures but still play with the cardboard terrain, or you could do away with all of that and just have your own fully custom table with physical, three-dimensional, beautiful painted terrain. You can scratch build some stuff, you can have the official miniatures or use some Warhammer miniatures or whatever you have laying around, whichever fits your vibe and your table and your playgroup. Something else I really love about Sunrod is they have an open license, which means anybody is allowed to make content for Sunrod and even sell it commercially without having to obtain prior permission from Smashbash. The only stipulation is you're not allowed to put any hateful or bigoted content in there, obviously, and you're not allowed to use any of the official logos on your product. Instead, they ask you to use the compatible with Sunrod logo, very similar to the license that Merkborg has. And that is something I love. Playing these scenarios, I had a really easy time finding miniatures that match the evocative cards, posing new threats and new challenges to my players. I feel like we had so much fun with this. It's such a, I just kept saying how easy everything was. Like the setup and the sort of mental load of running the game is so minimal. It's so easy to just put it out, play a game, put it back into the box. And as someone who has many hobbies and limited time, that's something I really appreciate. I know Chris and Naga really enjoyed themselves as well, and I'm looking forward to the next round we play. Hopefully, Flo, you'll be there. I am very excited about Sunrod and the future of Sunrod. As a matter of fact, I'd really like to sculpt my own miniatures for this game. And with that open license, this is something I could totally do. I could hand sculpt my own miniatures just like Anna did and sell them, not as an official expansion to the game, but just as fan content compatible with the game. And that is so kind and so cool that Smashbash has made this possible. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me attempt to draw some cards from the Sunrod monster deck and then sculpt my interpretation of that monster, make a mini out of that. I've only dabbled in sculpting my own miniatures, but it's something I've really wanted to get into more and more, and I feel like this game is such a perfect canvas for that. So if you'd like to see that, leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. Maybe consider becoming a member, supporting the channel. That'll get you access to my Discord server as well as to exclusive members only videos, because I make videos like this every week. In fact, if you like niche and weird indie miniature games, check out this video I did about Necroplanet Grope, which is a game by Anna from Gardensofhecate, and it's maybe the coolest and weirdest sci-fi miniatures game I've ever seen. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.